It is a Saturday morning in Jackson and West Tennessee. That means it is time for Tricks of the Trade. Get your hammers and screwdrivers out. Get your questions ready. Here's Jackson and West Tennessee's premier honeydew helper, John Allen. Hello.
Hello there. Good morning. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Well, tolerably well, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
It is.
Pert near, but not plumb, right?
Yeah, that's right. As long as there's a tree limb around here, you can line it up with it. You're all right.
I thought about that. It reminds me of some of those old legal descriptions I used to, follow the creek down to the tree where the tree with the redbird nest is.
That's right, left. And turn right at the stump,
Exactly right.
I've seen a few of those.
Yep. Let me do one thing right here because I forgot to do it on the front end just to make everything legal.
Okay.
Point 1, WTJS Alamo. The talk of Jackson.
Okay, now we are free to navigate, as your GPS would
Now,
say.
what was that all about?
That was a legal ID, which you have to do at the top of every hour.
Do I need to wear a name tag or something?
No, not yet.
Not
it's
yet.
coming. Name tag or microchips or, what.
We're from the government. We're here to help you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't work either.
Hey, I've been down south this week.
Yeah, I heard that.
I had to go down and spread a little knowledge and help a few folks with cleaning up from a hurricane.
Yeah, down in Pensacola.
It's a mess down there.
Have they got the bridge secured again?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's just floating?
Well, it's kind of stuck up in the air. You got to go about a 60-mile detour to get around.
Really?
I used to could get from the airport to my place in about 15 minutes, and now it's an hour and 10 minutes.
Well, you got to go down past the reserve and then come back in that way?
Yeah, well, something like that.
Yeah.
Something called a Garcon Bridge.
You got me.
Yeah, you got me.
I thought Garcon was that guy in the fancy restaurants that took you to your table.
That's right. But you won't get a salt and pepper shaker. I don't care how much you like him.
I thought about you the other day. I was in a local restaurant.
Were you there?
And when we got there, there was all the things on the table, and including the salt and pepper.
Some do and some don't.
Yep, that's true. They've released the restaurants now to go back serving buffets, self-serve buffets as of this weekend.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so.
It's time.
Yeah,
we about wore out the cooties around here, I think, and.
Well, now they're saying, have you seen the latest thing now?
No.
Now they're saying that the reason they're opening these buffets back up is because now they feel like that the cootie virus is spread person to person. So if you got a cootie virus and I want it, I can get it from you.
Oh.
But they're now saying that you're probably not going to get it from touching a surface. Like picking up a utensil that somebody else has had their cootie-infested hand on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who knows? Man, they come up with something new every day.
And the thing of it is, they just don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
And they don't know how to say that.
That's because they're getting paid too much money to say nothing.
That's true. And they're very good at what they do. Phone lines are open this morning. It's 731-891-6161. Victory Honda text line 731-410-7560. That's the way to get in here to talk to John on the text line or live on the telephone. Now we were talking off mic, and you said they had some videos down there of one of the towers at where your property is, and 105 mile an hour sustained winds for 30 hours.
Yes.
I can't imagine that.
Raining sideways the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was blowing through the walls, and we got videos of one of the tenants on the 20th floor, and videoing the chandelier. Now, this is a solid concrete structure,
right?
21 stories tall, and it's rocking.
Ooh, that's
the chandelier's just swaying back and forth. That's kind of spooky, and the concrete, you don't think it ought to move, but it sure does.
Yep. So. Well, in those areas like that, I mean, they're designed for water and they're designed for wind. So,
but somebody didn't get the memo, because there's quite a few houses down there built on the ground.
Yeah.
And all of their stuff was on the side of the road, piled up about head high.
Oh, I bet.
And all the sheetrock getting knocked out of the house. And I was telling you off mic, I'm used to dealing with tornadoes
Yeah.
around here, you know, and the restoration and cleanup from all of that. But hurricanes are different in many ways, and you know, you just got water down there.
Yeah.
And yes, you got winds, but you just don't see the visual devastation that you do from a tornado, or at least where I was, you don't.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was interesting. Glad to be back home, and made it through the airport.
What about the beach? That's when property owners in Florida always worry about beach erosion. And
Well, it's kind of where do you want one? Because where the sand used to be, it's not there anymore.
not there anymore.
It moved across the street,
Yeah.
and you know, it was the sand it literally would blow on the other side of the road,
Yeah.
and water seemed awful high everywhere you went. Even the ocean was
Really?
it was high. That's just because there wasn't any sand there anymore.
Right.
And it looks different. You know, boardwalks are non-existent.
Yep.
But I will tell a funny story on myself.
All right. Uh-oh, here we
Now,
go.
the true story. And you know, if you're going to be an idiot, be a big idiot.
That's right. Go for it.
That's
Yeah.
right. So I'm sitting in a little restaurant down there on property, and it's raining still outside,
Right.
misting off and on. People trying to come out and lay around the pool, but it ain't working. You know, they running back inside. Well, I'm sitting there just kind of gazing out over the gangplank, out there where the little boats are docked,
Right.
and I see this black arm come up out of the water and splashing, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking someone has just fallen off the end of the pier, and they're in trouble.
Yep.
I'm serious. I'm not making
Yeah.
this up. They're in trouble. And I looked again, and there come up that arm again. So I jumped up. Silly me. I jumped up. I grabbed a life preserver.
Yep.
I ran towards the end of the pier, fixing to jump in and take care of business.
Yeah.
I got to the end, and just before I was fixing to hurl that thing in the water, I saw what it was. It wasn't a little boy in the water.
What was it?
It was a full-grown pelican. That pelican, when his wingspan come up, it looked just like a forearm and an elbow coming up. But about the time I got there, he come up out of the water and went up, circled around, and dived right back down and did it again. He was fishing.
He's fishing. Yeah. He's trying to get breakfast.
But from a distance, I thought there was a small child that had fallen in the water.
That'd have been a great story for the 10 o'clock news.
Dummies are us.
That's right.
I mean, but it was. I got to laughing at myself. I love to laugh at myself sometimes, and you'll really get this later on in the show. But anyway, but it was really a weird thing. But you know, they got a little water park they had down there, but it's not there no more.
The one that floats out there in the water?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was way across the bay in somebody else's backyard.
I imagine.
Yeah, and lots of boats were not where they were supposed to be. One of them was in a guy's den. It had kind of hurled it up and threw it into the house.
Phew.
But lot of crazy things you see down there.
You know, I'm sure you drive down the main drag there. If you've ever been to Pensacola Beach, you know what I'm talking about. I imagine it kind of takes some of the ambiance away from being at the beach when you see everybody's furniture piled up on the side of the road.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight.
No,
not a pretty
no,
sight.
no.
But
Well, I mean, we got landfills around here. You know, all that stuff would go in a landfill if you're up here on dry ground. What do they do with all that stuff? You can't bury it down there. The water table's too low. Or too high, I guess.
I don't know. I didn't follow one of those trucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Somewhere there's a huge pile.
there's a big pile somewhere. Big pile. you know.
Well, I feel sorry for the folks down there, you know. So.
Well, they're doing pretty good. They're pretty resilient, you know, and you know, if you're dumb enough to have a place on the beach, you ought to be prepared for some of that stuff, you know.
Yeah, I saw an interview on I think it's on the Weather Channel with one property owner down over in Alabama, over at Gulf Shores.
Uh-huh.
And they said, well, what are you going to rebuild? And all? He said, this is the fourth time that I've been through one of these things down here. And he said, I've always said I'm not going to let this thing run me out of here. I knew what I was getting into when I got here, but he said, as soon as somebody wants this lot, I'm gone. He said, I'm going north, away from the water.
Well, you know, he's smart.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
smart,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I'm glad that people have properties down there. I don't think I'd want the headaches.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of vultures down there right now.
Oh, I bet there are.
And
Bet
they're
there are.
really, you know.
Lots of new pickup trucks with magnetic signs.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Public adjusters galore, and everything kind of crazy down there.
And their rules on building and remodeling and repairing down there are totally different than what we have to deal with around here.
Oh, yeah. Everything's different.
Yeah.
So much regulation and so much stuff you got to go through just to get the simplest of things done.
Yeah.
Unless you're a turtle, you can do anything
do
down
anything.
there. Turtles rule the world down there.
Turtles are king.
They are king.
Yeah, I was watching one of those shows on television where they buy property and rehab it, and they were doing beachfront property.
Uh-huh.
On this particular one, this little young couple bought this house, and they wanted to do some things to it, so they hired a contractor, and the contractor's down there, and they've got a deck on the back of this house that backs up to the water area.
Yeah.
And they wanted to expand the deck because it was like 6 feet, 8 feet wide at that point, ran across the back of that. So they wanted to go out 12 feet, make it 20 foot out this way, and probably 30 feet the other way. Number one, the guy said, when do you think you can start on this? And the guy kind of looked at him and said, well, you're new down here, aren't you? And he said, yes, we are. He said, well, first thing we have to get architectural drawings. Then we got to present it to the zoning board and the construction board. Then we got to get permits from the water people because you're actually putting piers in the water, even though it's on your property. He said it'll be probably 6 to 9 weeks before I can start it.
Mm-hmm.
They're building a deck, for heaven's sakes. What would you have to do to build a house down there? We got to call.
It's about the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother lives down there. He's been through that stuff too, so he kind of knows what he's speaking about somewhat. Let's go to the phone lines here. We've got a caller coming in. Take it, John.
Good morning and welcome.
Uh-oh, hang on one second.
Wait a minute.
Got to make one little move here on the old board, and we'll get you. Hang on, caller. I'm coming to you. All right, should have you now. Caller, you with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, what's going
How y'all
on?
this morning?
Hey, we're doing good.
Yeah, I got a little question here. I live in a brick house that I bought about 10 years ago,
All right.
and the people that lived here had been here about 25 years. Well, they decided they wanted to plaster over that brick, to fill in the cracks
Uh-huh.
and then paint. Well, it may have been good in the beginning, but now, years later, now the paint's starting to peel, but the plaster's busting off in places too. Now, my question is, would sandblasting knock off that plaster and paint, or would I be better off to maybe get it stripped and put siding on it?
Well, I think sandblasting will take care of it. I'm assuming what they did years ago is, did they put like a slurry coat over top of the brick just to make it look like stucco?
Yeah, well, it looks like they tried to smooth it, fill in the crack and smooth it the best they could. Then they painted it.
How thick
But now,
is it?
years later, the plaster's starting to bust loose.
How thick is it?
And it's probably it ain't real thick. It ain't a quarter-inch thick.
Okay. What I would do on that is you can sandblast it. You can even water blast it. But what you're going to need to do is to get all of the loose surface off. Now, the reason it's turning loose is apparently water's getting in somewhere, and it's pushing it off that brick. So you need to scrape everything you can that's loose, get it off. Then you're going to have to seal that coat that's on there now and the brick. And then if you want to put another plastering coat back on it and then paint it, you'll be all right. That sounds a little labor intensive, and it is, but I think still you'll have a better product than just trying to put lath and siding on top of it.
Well, can you think would it sandblast all the way back down to the regular brick, or would that mess up?
Well, it will if you stay with it long enough, but you're going to have a pretty tough job on your hands right there to get all of that off. Let's just say if it's just if it's just kind of paper thin to where they just put a coating over it, it won't be so bad. But if you've got it on there, say a quarter of an inch thick, you're going to have quite a job on your hands. And I don't know that you'll be able to get all of it off, unless you just stay at it to the point that around your house is going to look like a beach, because you're going to have sand everywhere.
Well, what about, I know to put siding on brick, you got to strip it.
Yes, sir.
Right? And, because I don't know, I guess I can get a hold of some siding people that would do that, but
well,
that's a lot to do right there, too.
Yeah, and you can also take the brick off.
Sir?
You can take the brick off. And you'll have...
Oh, Lord, that'd be a mess right there.
Well, it would be a mess, but, I mean, that is one of your options right there. But if you can strip it like with 1x4s and then put your vinyl siding on it, I mean, that can be done. Now, you'll have to get a little creative around your windows and doors to get that to trim out properly.
Right.
But it can be done.
Right. Okay, well, I got to find me somebody that will do. A lot of people are siding, but not many people want food with stripping or had never stripped before like that. So
That's right.
I don't know.
Well, good luck with that project.
All right, then. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling. The number's easy, 731-891-6161. That'll put you right in the middle of the board, and we'll be glad to get you just to John as quickly as we possibly can. We're going to take about a 2-minute break right now and hear from some of our sponsors, and we shall return. This is Tricks of the Trade on this Saturday morning.
Here and there, but
Hush, sissy. Well, hey, Brenda.
Hey, Tony. Got a question for you.
Sure, what's up?
Is your place for sale?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. Why?
Well, it's just a really beautiful place out in the country, right by the lake, nice home, deck, pool, a few extra acres for hunting. Just wondering.
Oh, yeah? Why's that?
Well, Hal McKeever is a great real estate guy, and he's looking for new properties like yours. And this Hal McKeever, he's got buyers all across the country looking for properties just like yours.
I'm pretty sure that's MacGyver.
No. That's a TV show.
Got property you just can't manage, or you're ready to cash out and head to the beach? Call Hal MacGyver at United Country MacGyver Land and Realty at 660-5152. That's 660-5152.
Hi, I'm Rodney Dean.
And I'm Geraldine.
For a long time, we've been telling you about Dave's Automotive Service.
But here's some things you may not know.
Dave's is the oldest and most experienced shop in the county.
He has great prices on oil changes.
Dave also does tune-ups, brake repair, and engine repair.
And he has the most updated diagnostic equipment for vehicle repair. Like when that service engine soon light comes on, he can check it out in a flash.
So if your ride's on the blink and need some TLC, don't grab a hammer, just grab the phone and dial 696-4351 and set up an appointment today.
Dave's Automotive, located on Highway 88 between Alamo and Murray City at the 412 intersection.
Dave knows autos. Oh, by the way, I never found my hammer, did you?
Yeah, but I gave it away.
Why?
Well, if you keep working on things with it, soon we won't have anything left.
You never let me do nothing.
Hello, Jackson in West Tennessee. This is John Allen, host of Tricks.
Well, that was a promo for you doing the
But I'm
show.
already here.
I know, so that's why I turned it down after you said hi to everybody.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that was just rude.
I was wondering whether that was going to happen. It had to be either you or Jimmy Leach, so I took a chance.
That's all right. That's
You're
all right.
listening to Tricks of the Trade this morning. John Allen is here, 731-891-6161, or the Victor Honda text line at 410-7560. It gets you right in the mix, and we want to talk to you because we forgot to tell them why we have phone lines and text lines, because if we don't have call-ins and text people coming in here, then John tends to
Babble.
all morning.
All
So
morning.
yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to babble a little bit right now.
Oh, we have fun babbling, and we can babble with the worst. or the best.
This is in the way of consumer protection.
Uh-oh.
I see a lot of stupid stuff out here that people have charged people for and gotten away with it.
You're welcome.
And here it is. It's fall, and people are going to start doing a lot more things outside because it's cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you about a little project that I'm kind of in the middle of, and it's not on the good end of it because there's lawyers and courts and all that in the middle of it where people kind of got messed up. And so here's kind of the scenario. Here you are in your house, your home, you know, and outside your back door, you've got a little concrete patio.
Yeah.
Just a slab of concrete.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's wash rock. It's just sitting out there minding its own business. And it was put there when your house was built. Now, how did they do that? Well, they just, if you're lucky that is, they went out there and they scraped the grass off the top of the ground.
Right.
And then they formed up, a lot of times with a 2x4, and then they poured you a slab of concrete to make you a patio.
Right.
You got the picture?
I got it.
All right. So everything's good, and then one day you're sitting around there and talking to Mama at the dinner table, and she says, you know, sure would be nice if I had me a little screened-in area back there, and I had a porch, you know, had a roof on it, and all this stuff, and you're sitting there drinking your coffee, and he says, you know, that's all right. So next thing you know, you're calling Bubba down the road, which is your first mistake. But anyway, here he comes. And he comes up there, and you get quoted a sum of money, which in your opinion, it may be reasonable, may not be. And they come out there, and they build you a screened-in sunroom right on top of your slab.
Right.
And then things start to happen.
Uh-oh.
Number one, you start seeing a crack in your concrete. And the second thing, your door is not opening and closing like it's supposed to be. It gets to hanging. Or maybe you're out there playing with your jacks and marbles, and all of a sudden your ball starts running over towards the corner because something's not level anymore.
Right.
Well, that happens more times than you think, because Bubba done went out there and built a structure on top of a concrete slab that doesn't have a footing.
Uh-oh.
And on top of that, you find out real quick that slab that was poured, which was only meant for foot traffic, has no reinforcement in it whatsoever. It's just a slab of concrete.
No wire, no rebar.
No wire,
nothing,
no
right?
rebar, no nothing. And so here you go. So anyway, I went out the other day and I was looking at one of these little situations.
Right.
And I laid my level on the floor, and I told him why his marble ran over in the corner, because in 4 feet it dropped 1.25 inches.
Whoa.
This being 16 feet wide, that tells you right quick you dropped about the width of a 2x4 from one side of the room to the other. Probably looked at the wrong side of the line when he was marking his grade stake out there and got to messing up. But then we had a crack to deal with. So you go outside and you realize that dummy has poured or built a structure on top of a concrete slab that had no footing. So it's sinking.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't put it right on top of the slab. The slab, they built it up 2.5 feet to get to floor level.
Ah, so you didn't have to step down coming
That's
out of
right.
the house. Okay.
So now you got, and I saw pictures where Bubba had gone down there and put a concrete form on top of this slab, and then filled him some literally sandbags on the inside to keep the dirt from pushing against the wall, to keep it from pushing out, and backfilled it with dirt, not sand.
Not sand.
Well, everything was happening. He couldn't get his door open. You know, his marbles were running to one side of the room.
Those that he hadn't lost already.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you look at him, and I said, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to start over. And they said, well, you mean start over? I said, well, it's got to come down because it's going to get worse before it gets better. Mm-hmm. So here's the point of bringing all this up. Don't build on top of a slab of concrete. It will sink.
Right.
Make sure you have a foundation that has a footing under it if you're going to build over it, and that foundation is below the frost line, and that is an established inch measurement. In this area, it's 14 inches.
Right.
That you got to get below to keep your ground from heaving should we have a hard freeze in the winter.
Yep.
Which will lift that slab right up in the air. Yep. It'll pick it up. So it's about this particular person had about a $70,000 problem.
Whoa.
And what made it worse was he had contracted, I shouldn't have said Bubba. It wasn't Bubba. It was one of these national outfits that you see on TV that come out and going to build you a sunroom.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And which they're like other people around here that are doing contracting work, but they're not contractors. They're just what we call paper contractors.
Yeah.
And they got the truck and the sign and the magnetic sign.
And somebody else's phone number to have them do the job.
That's right.
Yeah.
And everything is subbed out. And it's normally with temp help and people that really don't have much of a clue of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And when things go wrong, you can't find those people anymore. They were not insured. You don't have any bonds or anything like that. There's nothing to go back on. And you're just kind of going to end up paying twice for a project. Actually, you're going to pay more than twice because you got to tear it down a lot of times and then build it back and the cost associated with that.
Wow.
So beware out there. I mean, these folks that advertise on TV that will sell you anything from a bathtub to putting a roof on your house or building you a sunroom, or you might even go into a store that advertises, well, we'll sell it, but we'll also put it in for you.
Yeah.
They normally don't. These people that come out are not employees. No. And they are subcontractors. And,
you've been in court cases a lot. You just rang a bell with me.
Yeah.
Let's say I go to big box store A and I want something done that they do. And they say, yes, we can install that for you. It won't be a problem at all. It's included in the price.
Yeah.
And they send Frank and his crew out there.
Yeah.
And then you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you sue, or do you? You sue,
well, you go
sue
back,
the people you paid?
That's it right there. And, it happens. Now, there are a few legitimate people out here that do that, and they will stand behind it. But these that you got to dial the 1-800 number.
Yeah, they were long gone.
You got to watch out because all of a sudden they're your best friend, and then they don't know who you are after they got the check.
Old buddy, old pal.
That's right. Yeah, it's one of those things that you just kind of got to watch out for. So, in this area, if you're going to pour a slab of concrete, put a footing under it. That outside edge ought to be a lot thicker than the slab. It ought to go down in the ground.
Right.
You need to put rebar in it. That's a steel pole for some of y'all that don't know the difference. And then you need to put wire mesh in the concrete. Some people say, well, I'll put some fiber in it. Well, no, that doesn't work. You need to do it the old-fashioned way and spend an extra $10 and put a layer of plastic on the ground too, and that way you don't have the moisture in your ground wicking up through your concrete slab and you got a wet spot on your rug all the time, and then it starts to stink.
Yeah, it does.
So, just be careful with things like that.
Yeah.
The old saying, you get what you pay for, but sometimes, and in situations like this, you'll actually pay more on the front end than you would if you'd have just got some local folks around here to take care of.
Exactly. Boy, that happens more often than not, doesn't it?
You would not believe it. It really is.
We got a couple of texts coming in. You want to tackle those?
Yeah,
right
let's
now?
try.
Okay. First of all, it says Frank and Bubba got a hard way to go around here. No love at all. So Frank, if you wrote that text, we weren't talking about you. Or Bubba, if you wrote that text. Well, yeah, okay. Woo. So anyway, yeah, thank you. You're absolutely right. We were trying to pick some generic names, and those are the ones that came to mind. Anyway, the other text says, "Good morning, John. Have you seen these water heaters with a heat pump on them? If so, can you give an opinion or a review? Thanks. P.S. It's never good when your marbles run to one side of the room." I'm just glad mine are all in one place where I can watch them run, you know. So, if, a water heater with a heat pump on it. That ring a bell?
Not familiar with that.
Okay.
I think there's a little more to that than that. Now, you know, water source heat pumps. No,
That's what I thought he was talking about at first, but then I reread it.
I'm not going to step in that one because I don't know enough about it to talk intelligently, like a lot of other things I talk about. So,
with no apologies whatsoever.
With no apologies, you know. Never let the facts get in the way of a good story.
There you go. Absolutely. The Bill Way method. Yes.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Texters, if you got any more information that would kind of clarify, shoot it to us, and we'll try to figure it out. But I read it again, and it says, "Have you seen these water heaters with a heat pump on them?" Question mark.
Yeah. I don't think I have, and I'll just let it go with that.
Okay.
But
all right, yeah. If you send us a little more information, and we'll get with Frank and Bubba and see if we can figure it out.
Yeah, and we got to throw Leroy in there. He's always got to be in the mix of everything.
That's right. The shovel won't stand up straight without him. Now, you know. Oh, me. This is Tricks of the Trade, and you're talking with John Allen. 731-891-6161 is the number. Victory Honda text line, where we just came from. 731-410-7560. And I need to take another quick break so we don't get backed up here at the end of the show. So stay with me for about 90 seconds, and we'll be right back on Tricks of the Trade.
I'm Kathy Ursery. Retirement brought on many transitional changes, including selling my home. Living in the Lambeth area neighborhood in Midtown, I wanted a realtor who could communicate to potential buyers the value and passion I placed on my 1920s home. I wanted someone to enjoy my home and the Atlanta area as much as I did. How fortunate I was to run into Brad Greer and mention I was considering selling my home. By mid-May, Brad had sold my house at a price I wanted with a cash offer. I found out why Brad Greer is known as Jackson's real estate resident expert. Personally, I highly recommend Brad to sell or buy your home. He is hands-on, very passionate, skilled, and professional. How many realtors climb on your roof for you, offer paint color recommendations, and are on call 24/7.
I'm Brad Greer with Greer Real Estate Group. Jen, John, and the other agents at Greer Real Estate Group don't do family planning, but we do know how to help people with buying or selling a house. Give Greer Real Estate Group a call at 300-4100 and let us show you why our clients refer us to their friends.
Sakura Japanese Restaurant invites you to lunch today for only $7.95. Busy day? No problem. Sakura delivers. Sakura Japanese Restaurant is Jackson's original sushi bar with over 75 selections of fresh cooked and fried rolls. Sakura recently introduced the new Chinese menu. Impress your friends, family, and business clients this season with a Sakura meal or stuff their stockings with Sakura gift cards. Jackson's original sushi bar is Sakura, online and on Garage House Drive next to Gold's Gym.
I don't feel like I'm 23 anymore. Lack of energy during the day, difficulty sleeping, reduced mental focus and memory, weight gain, including belly fats, reduced sexual desire, and performance. Studies show after the age of 30, most people produce 3 to 10% less hormones each year, and I felt it. I decided to do something about it. But I didn't want 152 shots of synthetic testosterone per year. What I discovered is changing my life. All testosterone replacement is not the same. Hormone pellets contain the same chemical structure as your body's natural hormones. They're placed under the skin and release bioidentical testosterone consistently to the bloodstream and last up to 6 months. Same thing with estrogen for females. I feel great. I don't want youth wasted on the young. I want it wasted on me. Feeling better for you can start with a simple phone call.
Dr. Shannon Bone at Advanced Rehab and Medical. It's 731-503-4277. It's 503-4277. Call today. 731-503-4277. You'll be glad you did.
XMC, your authorized Xerox sales agent, can help you manage documents with the flexibility of collaboration you want and the level of security you need. Xerox's electronic document management system allows you to share, collaborate, review, approve, and publish on the web, all with a user-friendly interface and multiple levels of security. When coupled with XMC's scan-enabled multifunction devices, electronic document management provides a complete end-to-end management solution. To learn more about electronic document management, visit xmcinc.com.
This is WTJS, Alamo, Jackson, and WKBL, Covington, News Talk, West Tennessee.
And you're listening to Tricks of the Trade on this Saturday morning. Following us today, Jimmy Leach, the investigator, from 9 until 10, so stay tuned for that. John Allen is here. The phone number is once again 731-891-6161. That's the call-in number. We'd love to talk to you this morning. Or the Victory Honda text line. We can take you that way too, 731-410-7560. And here's John.
You know, this is my favorite time of the year. Fall is. This is my favorite season. It's just been unbearably hot, and now it's going to start getting cold. And you know, next thing you know, I'm going to be putting up Christmas decorations for too much longer.
I was watching WBBJ weather last night.
Uh-huh.
And Tom Miners, you know, upstanding young man that he is, said the F word right there on television.
He did.
Talking about the weather.
Oh.
He said frost.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
When?
Down the road a piece. He said it's on my radar or something to that effect. So we're going to get down in the mid-40s for lows next week.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm liking it already.
Highs in the 60s.
You know, fall meant a lot of things growing up, and like I said, I just love it when it starts cooling off. But that was when we were starting to wrap things up at the farm.
Yep.
And when I would go on weekends to Carroll County and stay with my grandparents, that would be Bertha and John Wiley.
There you go.
And, you know, they would always try to coax me every way they could to come up and spend the weekend with them. When I was a young fella, I'd get homesick.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd be afraid to be away from Mom and Daddy for so long, and I'd shed a tear or two, and they'd have to bring me back. And but they kept trying, and you know, I was bribed multiple ways to go up there. Believe it or not, I was bribed one time with television.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't have one, but they were going to buy one if I would come up there. Well, they did.
That's awful.
They did,
yep.
And they bought one. But the other way was I always wanted a puppy.
Ah, now that would do it.
And Daddy wasn't much for animals around the house.
Yeah.
And he tried it one time, got a little weenie dog and put it in a bushel basket and put a towel over the top of it, and that dog whined all night long. I woke up the next morning, dog wasn't there.
Whoops.
I still don't know what happened to that dog, but weenie dogs they whine anyway. They're the barkingest little four-legged creatures.
They are high on the yapper scale.
Yeah, they're real high on the yapper scale. But anyway, here it is fall, and it's time that things want to try to come into your house that want to just stay the winter, and you don't want them there.
Yes.
Well, when my grandparents or my papa bought or got him a little dog so that I'd come up there and spend the weekend, apparently he bought it to try it out.
Yeah.
Before I came up there, about 3 or 4 weeks, I didn't know that he had a little puppy. It's one of those little, I'm sure it wasn't full-blooded, but it was like one of them little Jack Russell.
Jack Russell Terriers.
They just jump up and down all the time.
Yeah,
and
man.
they'd ride in the cab of your truck and jump up on the dash or lay around your neck and all that stuff. That was fine. Well, anyway, I got the word that Papa had got a dog, and I hadn't seen it yet. But I decided to go home with him. Well, when we got up there, I hadn't seen the dog. Of course, the dogs, they run around.
Oh, sure.
They're all over the farm. You know, it wasn't time for him to come to the house. So we just finished supper, and we were sitting in there watching the television that they had just gotten. And my granddaddy, goes out on the back porch and commenced to hollering. I thought I was in trouble because I hope the censor board don't get us this morning. But anyway, he was on the back porch screaming, "Come here, damn it! Come here, damn it!" I thought I was in trouble.
Uh-huh.
And I run out on the back porch to say, "What's the matter, Papa? What'd I do?" And he looked down and he smiled and he said, "Oh no, Johnny, there's nothing wrong. I'm just calling the dog." I said, "What?" He said, "Dog's name's damn it."
Yeah.
Okay, so I got over that. We laughed about it, and I could never say it. I called him Freddie. Just because I wasn't allowed to say the other word.
Right,
but that's what the dog's name was. Well, the dog, as little dogs do, collect friends that come around the house.
Yeah, they do.
And, this time of year, you get critters in your house. You get squirrels, and you get, cats and coons, and things want to come inside. Well, my grandmother, bless her heart, she did not like strays of any type. And so, if damn it brought a little friend home, it would have to go. Of course, we didn't have pens back then. The dog just kind of run wild.
Around, sure.
But if there was one thing in particular that I'll get to in a minute came to the house, it was in trouble. I knew it wasn't going to be there very long.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandmother, in order to get rid of strays, she'd try to shoo them off or yell at them or throw stuff at them. And she found out that didn't work very well. But she had one little trick that I don't care what kind of little four-legged critter you were, you wouldn't come back if she got a hold of you. Here was the trick.
Okay.
When she couldn't run the little dog or the little whatever it was off, she would just turn on the sugar and spice. She would just say, "Oh, you the cutest little thing. Come on over here and let me pet you on the head and rub your belly." And the little dog would come running over, just wagging its tail and carrying on. And she's sitting there petting it on the head and loving on it and talking real soft and tender to this dog. And that was with the left hand. But with the right hand, she had a skillet from the kitchen where she had boiling water mixed with Merry War Lye, where she was soap making. And she was pouring that lye down the backbone of that critter.
Oh, Grandma got a mean streak.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, it took about 20 seconds before the lye hit the skin.
Oh.
But when it did, the hind quarters of the animal tried to get in front of the front quarters, running off. And it would skedaddle out down to the bottom.
Yep.
That's the low part and it never came back.
I imagine.
And it was something because it was hollering and squalling and scooting and rolling and carrying on something awful, because she done taught that dog a lesson that it would never forget. Funny story, true story, I was there when it happened.
Uh-oh.
One of the things she hated worse than anything was a cat. Didn't matter what kind it was, how pretty it was, just didn't want a cat around the house. I don't know why. But somehow somebody dropped off a litter of kittens.
Oh, Lordy.
And she got rid of most of them but one. It was an old tomcat. And the old tomcat hung around the corn crib a lot. Guess it was looking for mice. Yeah. Made sense.
He ain't no dummy.
That's right. But it doesn't make any difference. It was a cat, and it didn't belong there, and it wasn't going to stay the winter. So she looked at me when I came up one weekend. She said, "Johnny, we're going to get that cat." I said, "Okay." By then, what was going on was kind of comical with me.
Yeah.
With twisted kind of humor, So we decided, she says, "Come on, Johnny, we're going to the corn crib. We're going to get rid of that cat," because we knew the cat was up there.
Yeah.
So we opened up the door of the corn crib. There was a cat in there having supper, one of the little critters that it had caught. Didn't make any difference. So she coaxed that cat over. Now, I'm standing over in the corner. Now, there she is talking real sweet to the cat. Got that skillet of Merry War Lye in the other hand. And the cat comes over, and just purring and doing what little cats do, you know. Well, she reached down while she is rubbing its ears and commenced to pouring that lye water right down its backbone. Well, as I said, normally the animal will run off down to the bottom and you never to be found again.
Right.
We had a spring on the corn crib door.
Yeah.
So the door closed behind us. So when the sensation hit the cat couldn't get out. It was a funny sight from that point forward.
Bouncing off the walls.
But no, running around the walls. Literally running around the walls, about 3 foot high. Running the walls, except it was so bad, things was coming out of one end of that cat that you just didn't want to see about, but it was slinging it everywhere.
And it wasn't the noise.
It wasn't the noise. No. It was the other end.
Yes, that's what I figured.
And I'm telling you, that cat went nuts to the point we had to bail out of there because we were getting stuff all over us. And we got out the corn crib door, but the minute we cracked that door, that cat got ahead of us. Mm-hmm. And it took off down towards the bottom.
Yep.
Never to be seen again.
Never to be seen. It's down there talking to the dogs, trying to figure out what happened.
That's right. They down there having a conference, you know.
That's right. Don't never go up there again.
So, you know, I think about that story every fall because here we got people, you know, in the modern time, you can't buy a Merry War Lye anymore. I mean, nobody makes soap anymore except maybe, you know, country people and maybe a few
way back up in the hills,
Amish community, and I mean that with the greatest respect. But it makes me think of these little stories because now we're trying to get people trying to keep coons out of the house, trying to keep squirrels out of the house. And you just can't do that no more. It's hard to pet a squirrel anyway.
Well, that's true. They won't come to you.
No, they won't. They won't.
No. And, you know, now we know how to do that, but we don't have the utensils to do it with. So that's sad.
It is. It's one of them things. But you know, that story just always pops in my head. Now, that's been close to 55, 60 years ago. Ooh. Things have changed since then.
A lot, yeah.
But anyway, I still laugh about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Granny had to go back and take a bath and clean her clothes.
I get this picture of Granny, and from a horror movie. You know how they would look at the camera and all of a sudden become evil. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Oh, she's the sweetest woman there ever was. About 4'11".
Yep.
And just full of dynamite.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I loved that woman to death.
Had a little mean streak in her though when it came to animals.
Well, you know, but she was very protective of her young'uns and her grandchildren.
Oh yeah.
And I tell you what, you didn't mess with Granny.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Right. I had one of those too.
That's right.
One of those too. All right, John Allen's here, and it's Tricks of the Trade. It is Saturday morning. And we're going to take our final break of the morning. We'll come back and wrap this thing up. If you have questions or comments for John, text line 731-410-7560. Call-in line if you'd like to talk, and we'd love to hear from you, 731-891-6161. Give me 90 seconds, and we'll be right back.
Here at Jackson Off-Road, we are a complete automotive service center that does work on area business fleets, servicing and repairing both diesel and gas engines. Our experienced technicians and advanced technology will upgrade your company's vehicle's performance, saving you significant dollars. Graham Snack Food said, Jackson Off-Road keeps our fleet of vehicles on the road in a timely manner, regardless of what repairs are required or what time of the day or night we call for service or repair. Jackson Off-Road, online and on the 45 bypass.
This is Tammy Reed with Hickman Realty. Buying and selling a home is your largest investment. Why would you trust that to just anyone? With over 300 properties sold in 2019, no other real estate agent or team sells more real estate in West Tennessee than the Reed Nelson team. Time-tested experience is the key to getting you the most money for your home. Put your largest investment in the trusted hands of the Reed Nelson team. Call me today, 616-6000, 664-1006. Visit our website at reedteam.com.
Here at Jackson Off-Road, we are a complete automotive service center that does work on area business fleets, servicing and repairing both diesel and gas engines. Our experienced technicians and advanced technology will upgrade your company's vehicle's performance, saving you significant dollars. Graham Snack Food said, Jackson Off-Road keeps our fleet of vehicles on the road in a timely manner, regardless of what repairs are required or what time of the day or night we call for service or repair. Jackson Off-Road, online and on the 45 bypass.
We try to make it a different way to wake up in Jackson and West Tennessee every day, Monday through Friday from 6 until 9 a.m. It's Blue Suede Forever, live from the Dixie Cafe and the Old Country Store on the Talk of Jackson. Dedicated to the premise that from New Orleans to Muscle Shoals to Memphis up through Nashville and Bristol, Tennessee, all the pop music of the world came from right through here. We play it, we talk about what's happening in our world, we try to get your day off to a positive start. Join us, Blue Suede Forever, Monday through Friday, 6 till 9 a.m. at the Talk of Jackson.
This is WTJS, Alamo, Jackson, and WKBL, Covington, News Talk, West Tennessee.
Yes, indeed it is. It is Tricks of the Trade on this Saturday morning. We have about 10 minutes left in the show today, followed by Jimmy Leach and the Investigator. And about 10 minutes, that means we got plenty of time to take your text at 410-7560 or to talk to you at 731-891-6161. Do it now.
The countdown has begun, Jimmy.
The clock is a-ticking.
And I'm not talking about probably what you're talking about.
Well,
but,
both of them are ticking then.
Yeah, all right. They're telling us at 11:59 tonight.
Yeah.
At the stroke of midnight, you can take your mask off.
That's right.
That's what they're saying.
It's not mandatory.
Or it's not mandatory
anymore.
Now you can still keep it on.
Yes, they're suggesting heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're in a facility or a venue that's owned and operated by the city of Jackson or Madison County, you got to wear one.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
If you're in the health department buildings, the WIC building, you got to wear one. So it is and it isn't.
Well, the encouraging thing about that is maybe, just maybe, we're on the road to whatever normal used to be.
Well, I was reading
little common sense.
I was reading a press release yesterday or day before from Kim Tedford at the health department, and I was glad to hear her use the term "flatten the curve." We have reached that point here in Madison County where things have kind of leveled off. And that's what they were looking for. They wanted to level the field, or what do they call that? Stop the curve or flatten the curve or whatever they call that. So, yeah, I mean, it's still out there, don't get me wrong, and there's still people bad sick with it. But,
well, there are, and it's bad, but at least maybe we can get our salt and pepper shakers back on the table.
Man, wouldn't that be nice?
And maybe I can get some material delivered. I'm telling you, one thing that this COVID has really messed up my world in construction, along with lots of other people, is not only are the prices gone sky high on lumber,
yep.
It's just hard to get, and having a terrible time getting all building components right now. And when you get them, they're just in many cases double the price that we were paying 6 months ago. So, kind of hoping things will go back down. When you are building a project and if you're out there starting something, you might want to double check your prices, because if you were quoted on something a while back, you're probably going to pay more for it. It's to the point right now, a lot of new build and all has just stopped because prices have gotten so high and you can't get the material.
Yeah.
I have searched the land over for a month over just getting fencing materials to help fix a fence and things like that, and finding what you call dog-eared fencing.
Yep.
But I found it, and we're getting that little project going this week. But I'm looking for some sense of normal behavior to come back, and everything be all right. So.
Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves, and you and I talked about this a lot. Is when people say, "I need you to come over here and fix my hot water heater." You fix your water heater. Yeah, you don't heat hot water. You do actually.
I was scolded by a guy back in my early days who had moved in over on Fairmont Street from north of here, way north of here.
Way north.
And I made the mistake. I was going to check the voltage on his hot water heater.
Right.
And he scolded me right quick. It is a water heater. It's not a hot water heater.
Yes.
Now, this also comes from a guy that had to shave his back every other day, so he didn't have much credibility with me. So we're gonna. Bless his heart. He's taking a dirt nap right now.
That begs the question, how did you know that? And I really don't, I don't need to know.
He made it a point to tell me.
Oh,
as if I wanted to know.
Now, I might tell you I got a bum leg or something, but I'm not going to go that far.
Well,
even with
you know, he a little, he was different.
Yeah. Well, the other pet peeve thing is the thing that's going around nowadays, the new normal. No, it's if it's that new, it's not normal.
Yeah, well,
so leave it alone. As they say, let it be. We have an uplifting text.
Oh, we do?
Yes, and thank you, texter. Thank you. It says, I sure do enjoy listening to y'all. And he spelled y'all with a comma, John. It's y'all. He's listening to y'all. Facebook, y'all, right? John too, right? John Rawls over there on the equipment. Sure do enjoy listening to y'all. Y'all have a blessed day and enjoy the weather. Thank you, texter. We'll do both.
Gonna do that.
Both.
It's just fun to walk around outside right now and not have to break out into a sweat.
Yeah, I mean, from the car here, come in dry, man. That's a good thing.
Exactly.
That's good. I got some weeds I got to kill this afternoon. Me and Senior Roundup are going to make another trip through the yard and got some of those that are leaves of 3. You know those things, leaves of 3. Let them be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to let them be. I'm gonna squirt them.
I'm telling you. That just jumps all over me. I try to stay away from them.
I do too. I
try to do the round. I've got to where I use a torch on them now.
Really?
Yeah, they got this great little device. It's a blowtorch, but it's you can stand up and not have to bend over, and you can torch that grass, and you poison ivy and you poison oak and all that stuff. Careful not to catch your tree on fire.
Yeah.
That's another story. But anyway, you can burn it out, and then you can spray it with Roundup. And after about a week after you burn it,
right,
and it'll stay gone the rest of the summer.
Wow,
pretty good.
And I've had this conversation with Dan Morris from time to time, and we talk about Roundup. He doesn't believe all these lawsuits and cancer and all that stuff from Roundup unless you're using it in mega doses and got it drenched on you for days at a time.
Well, that's a bunch of hype on that.
I pay a little bit more and I get the long lasting Roundup, one with the gold label on that thing, and it does work. I mean, when you hit them hard and hit the weeds hard in the early part of the summer, they don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
They vacate the premises. Have some Merry War Lye in it.
Probably got Merry War Lye. Yeah.
But it works. So that's my project of the day, and then I've got a couple of minor projects around the house I need to talk to you about because it involves other tools that I don't be familiar with.
All right.
I can't do what I need to get done with a Phillips head screwdriver.
Ooh.
But I can get it done with your phone number.
Well, eventually we'll get there.
Yeah. And I don't think this is going to require too much lumber, so we'll be all right there.
We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got about 2 minutes left in the show. Anything else you want to touch on quickly?
Well, I always get these calls this time of year about the vents around your house. Do you open them? Do you close them?
Mm-hmm.
And, it used to be the rule of thumb was in the fall you closed your vents and in the spring you opened them up. And that kind of goes with the rule that was created years ago. You're protecting your pipes. That's what that's all about.
Right.
Well, now things are different, and the way things are built and as tight as we're building their homes, I've kind of changed my attitude on those, and just more or less says if you are dry under your house, and that's the key, dry, look it over, inspect it, keep your vents closed all the time, and I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
But if you have groundwater that gets under your house, or if your ducts are sweating and other things are introducing moisture, you need to keep the ventilation going as much as possible under your house. Just be cautious of your pipes so that they don't freeze.
Texture says, does that go for attics too?
Attics, everybody's got these whirlybirds on top, and they're pulling the hot air out of your attic. In the wintertime, why pull the hot air out? Let it stay in there and help you with your heating bill. So you don't have to you need to cover your vents up if you can. If you got the little whirly birds, don't do the tacky trailer trash routine where you go up there with
the trash bag.
The trash bag. Just get you a piece of cardboard and a couple of thumbtacks and go up there and cover the hole where the vent is.
Yep.
And it'll do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And you'll be in good shape.
All right.
They're playing that music
They're
again.
playing that music. That means it's time for us to slide out of here till next week.
I'm fixing to get my old bump music back. Did you know that?
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and I won't have to call Tim Taylor and slip him $5 every week to use his old home improvement music.
This is true. You've been listening to Tricks of the Trade here on 93.1. Jimmy Leach is coming up next, and we'll be back at 8 o'clock next Saturday morning with John Allen and Tricks of the Trade. Thanks to John Rawl for making this available to you on the y'all.com Facebook page, Facebook Live, along with News Talk West Tennessee and News Talk Jackson. And you'll find it on YouTube a little bit later in the morning. Have a great day. We'll see you next Saturday.